breath framework. B, begin where you are. R, reclaim your power. E, excavate your core values. A, allow, not control. T, through, not around. And H, healing. The breath framework, a way of life.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Soul Center Experience Live. You know, I'm looking at the StreamYard and the lighting and everything. It's not really doing me any favors tonight. I prefer Zoom, where they kind of like help you a little bit with the lighting. But anyway, it's been a very long week, and I do realize that it is 7:30 p.m. Eastern on a Tuesday. To say that it's been a long week might sound a little strange. I have two kids that are very involved in what they're doing, and one I believe is going to be quiet, but the other one is trying to playing Adopt Me on Roblox, and there's a lot of yelling and trading, and it sounds like she's on the Wall Street, like the stock exchange floor. So if you hear this going on, you know what's happening in my home. Tonight we have an amazing guest, someone who I think is incredible. And I can't wait to learn even more about his background and for you to learn. But we are talking about the breath framework, and we're talking about the word through this evening. So what does through mean to you? So we go from begin where you are to reclaim your power, to excavate your core values, to allowing, and then through is the next step. And they don't always go in order. But it's very interesting to see everybody's take on, what that means to them. So without further ado, I will bring on my amazing guest, Reggie Waterman. Here he is. Hi, Reg.
Annie, what's going on?
How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Living the dream, as always. No, things are good. Things are good.
No, that's good. Living the dream.
Living the dream every day, Reggie, every day.
See, people say that sarcastically, but I feel like you're actually doing it.
I am. And I will tell you this, life is hard. And there are trials and tribulations all the time, but I will tell you that my job and what I do every day, truthfully, this is not for public, just my public face, which I don't really do anyway. I don't really have a public face. It's the same as my regular face. But I will tell you that my job and what I do and what we do as an organization and our team, it's exactly what I want to be doing. Like if somebody said you never have to work another day in your life, I would still go to work tomorrow. I would still do what I'm doing. And I think that's hi Ashim, what people's goal is for working, right? Like if you're going to work, you might as well be doing something you love. So how do you feel about that? What are you doing? Are you living the dream?
That's a good question. Am I living the dream? I'll take it a different way.
Okay.
I'm shaping my reality. So what I mean by that is, I have a great job. I work for a great organization, full-time at 360 Insights. But outside of that, I'm creating my own reality with a lot of projects that I have on the go, as you know, and you're going to be coming on as a guest. I know it, for season 4 of Discover Your Other Self.
Very
so
excited.
I host that on LinkedIn. I'm launching a book this fall based on the show Discover Your Other Self. And I facilitate workshops at universities and colleges. I'm doing acting and modeling. So
look at you stud.
Yeah, right? But that's the thing. It's about creating my own reality. I could, be comfortable and, just be at the 9 to 5 and that's it, rinse and repeat. But no, I got to be able to do more. I got to be able to expand. I have these creative juices that are flowing and I can't stop them. So
I'm so with you on everything you just said. I so could have been that 9 to 5 person. I mean, I was in pharmaceutical sales and business development. I was working my way up. I went back to school. I could have kept things regular. And that's for some people. I'm not disrespecting that or saying that that's not for some people, but I just couldn't live like that. I had to create something. I have to give. I have to give love and heal, and like this is my calling. So I so know what you mean, that like the creative juices just like, all right, so this is what I want. Are you gonna, is it like too personal to tell what's happened to you recently as far as like your almost your rebirth? Will you share what's going on in your life? That's what I'm calling it, Reggie's rebirth.
Reggie's rebirth. So yeah, we had a conversation about this yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went on a solo trip to Europe, and I tried to see if friends, anybody could go with me, because that's kind of, I'm accustomed to doing that. Like as humans, we connect with other humans, and it's like you want to go on a trip with somebody else, right, to share that experience. Unfortunately, everybody in my circle couldn't go with me. So, but I was like, you know what? It's my birthday. I'm going to go celebrate my birthday in style. And yeah, I decided to go on this trip to Europe by myself. Because I've always felt this urge that, I still needed to go. Even though I was just going to be alone. I had no plans. People said, okay, well, what are you going to be doing? Right. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, you don't have any plans? Nothing? No.
Just I'm getting off the plane.
Yeah. And let the universe guide me, and, let my intuition kick in, and, whatever happens, happens.
Right.
So when we talked about yesterday, it was allowing myself to be present and let opportunities come to me, let the experience happen. Don't build up any anxiety of, planning certain events, restaurants, whatever the case may be, but just enjoy yourself.
Right.
And there was a moment where I discovered why I was on this trip, and it hit me. And I was waiting in a long lineup to go to this rooftop patio, and I'm kind of on this journey of being open to relationships, partnership, and so forth. And I just started. It was just like this spiritual download of all these thoughts, and I'm like, I feel like God was like talking to me, and I shared that in a post. About that experience while I was on this trip. But it was just about not letting other people's projections or experiences impact you and dictate what you need to do for your life. Because at the end of the day, God, and I'm a spiritual person, so whatever you believe in, that's totally up to you. It could be the source, it could be the universe, or whatever the case may be. But for me, it's God. And whatever vision he has for me, I have to be open to it, to surrender and obey to what that vision is. Nobody else will understand it. And for my whole life, I've been always trying to, please others or be worried about what other people thought, and allow them and their projections to dictate what I need to do for my life. But it was that very moment where I came to realize, listen, I'm on this trip for me. I'm on this trip to discover A, who I am. B, I already know what my purpose is, but I need to, instead of dipping my toe in the water, allow myself to dive right in to the pool and just go into the deep end of this journey, surrender, obey, and trust that God has a plan for me. So that was like the awakening moment.
Reggie's rebirth.
Yes.
That's as Annie coined it,
Yes.
So that's a beautiful story, and I loved it yesterday and I love it today. When did you start allowing? Did you start allowing when you got off the plane, or did you start allowing when you decided to go? Like, how did the allowing, I know we're supposed to be talking about through, but we'll get there. How did the allowing part start?
The allowing part started where I just started to realize that, listen, when it comes to travel, there's certain restrictions. We're still dealing with, the pandemic. Mm-hmm. It's not completely over. No. Things have been alleviated in terms of, some restrictions, but there's still restrictions nonetheless. We can't just walk out, go into a store without our mask. So that's still a restriction. I could have allowed the restrictions of this pandemic, whether it be a mask, whether it be getting vaccinated, whether it be getting tested before you could travel. And I could have allowed myself to get discouraged because I decided, I'm going to go on this journey on my own. And who really does that? There's people that do it, and it's worthwhile, it's fulfilling, and it forces themselves to really connect with other individuals and people. But how this kind of came to be and where I allowed myself was, listen, you have this window of time before the book launches, before the LinkedIn Live show starts, or the new
This is your time.
All these things are going to be happening. You need to go now. If you don't go, man, you're just going to regret it. You're going to be like, oh, man, I should have went on that trip.
Everything aligned for you.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because I remember when you were contemplating, like, what do I do?
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know all the details, but I knew you were kind of like, what do I do? I just don't know. You were really going back and forth. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you decided to do this.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, like, think hard. Have you ever heard of anybody that decided to go to Europe by themselves that didn't have an amazing time? Like, I've never heard that story. Like, man, I went and just sat in my hotel room and I had nothing to do. Like, I was so bored. I mean, I've never heard, every story is like, it was mind-blowingly amazing. I met a million people. It was so phenomenal. I saw everything. I mean, it's just the thing to do. How do you not do that? It's so amazing that you got to do that.
And you know what's fascinating about that, what you just said? During the thought process of even considering the opportunity to go, we don't think about what you just said. Now imagine, like, if I did, I'm like, you know what? No one has ever said that they've.
No one's ever been like, oh, that sucked.
Where are you? I could have, like.
You should have come to me. I'm telling you, I'm very wise. I might not seem it sometimes, but I'm very wise. No, I'm thinking to myself, like, of all the, there's people that do this. There's people that just up and go. And I went to Bali, for 3 weeks. Oh, okay. I mean, like, did you go with anyone? No. It was mind-blowingly, life-changingly amazing. Like, has anyone ever been like, yeah, Bali sucked for 3 weeks? Like,
exactly.
That was the pits. Next time
the beaches were too sandy. There's too much sand at the beach.
Too much, goodness.
The water was too blue.
So yeah, it was just ugly. But I mean, even when you traveling by yourself is something I've always read about, actually, in like self-development books and things. And, even if you like jump on a plane and go to Florida from Philadelphia, it's not necessarily that it has to be Europe. Europe is just so amazing in every way. I don't know how you don't have a magical experience every time you go. I did. But even if you just to go somewhere by yourself and just embrace aloneness and meet random people and have that openness to allow, and then to actually see what I'm doing here, to go through,
yes,
go through and sort of be in it, in your stuff alone. I mean, what was that like? Did you have any moments besides the download from source or whomever? Did you have any moments where you're like, this is like, I'm in the zone right now. I'm going through.
Yeah. It was after that, I guess when I first got there, I was caught up in the whole, man, how do I navigate this thing?
Right. You were still trying to control, right? Like you were like, okay, great. Where's the map?
Where's the map? Where's the Google Maps? Oh man, I don't have data. I need to find a Wi-Fi hotspot. But there was moments and times, and there's multiple moments where you're like, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, I'm in it.
I'm enjoying this moment in time where I'm in tune with my thoughts. I'm in tune with my vibration, my frequency. I remember it was the first day there in Paris, and my room wasn't available, because obviously they're still getting the room ready. And I was like, let me just go for a walk. Let me just discuss, explore. And then I, eventually I bought a cigar because I'm like, it was the day of my birthday. And I sat down on a patio and I had a cappuccino and I lit up the cigar.
You were like doing it. You were in it and doing it right. Yeah, you were
here.
in it.
I'm here. This is good.
Arrived.
And I'm glad I made it. And it's like, we're talking about through. We tend not to think about what's happening on the other side once we go through
where we're going to get.
we tend to let the anxiety of the unknown kind of wire our brains to a point where it builds up that fear. And it's not until we harness that and say to yourself, okay, but instead of thinking about all the fears, think about the possibilities. Yeah, you may not know what those possibilities are, but be open to it, because you'll never know where it could take you. Like there's an example where, a friend of mine told me that a mutual friend of ours was actually playing in Paris. Dwayne, yes.
I remember when you talked.
Yeah, you remember. And I was like, okay, let me hook up with Dwayne. Hooked up with him. He said he's playing at a local restaurant, and he goes, hey, yeah, let's meet up. We met up at a bar. The next day, like that night, he goes, hey, do you want to come by the place where I'm going to be, playing music? And he goes, by the way, do you want to play basketball? And I'm like, yeah,
sure.
Why not? Sure, why not?
Okay.
You have basketball shoes? I'm like, no, not on me, but I can make it work. And the next day, go to the brunch, and he's playing, and I'm taking, and this is the first time I'm actually listening to him play music. I'm like, this guy's actually good.
Yeah.
Right. And then his coach was there after his performance. His coach drove us to the gym, and I'm finding out more about what he does. He actually plays for a competitive club team out in Paris. So I'm playing with them. Apparently, after the scrimmage, I guess I played well, because they said, "Hey, do you want to come play for us?" And I'm like, we're on the team. They're like, yeah. Dwayne will help you. He'll help you find a visa. He'll help you through the whole process. Come live in France.
Thanks, Carl-Jean.
And I'm like, what is happening?
This is real. What is happening? This is real.
What is happening?
What did you say?
I allowed myself to say, you know what? I'm open to it. Like,
yes,
if I can make it happen, and I can manage all the other things that I have in my life, why not? We only live once, right? Like, I'm open to the possibility.
The openness to it is,
right? Like, this is just life, but you got to be open, is all I'm saying.
And I think that you nailed that as far as what a lot of people have such issue with. It's not necessarily the opportunity or the possibility of what could be. It's being open to it. That's the first step, like opening your mind and soul to, like, what did it feel? I have so many thoughts and questions. Like, what did it feel like to have no responsibility except for yourself? Like, I mean, can I just give you like a quick personal? So like, this is my story. This is what everybody knows that follows me. Like, this summer, my kids went to overnight camp for 7 weeks. 7 weeks, right? So like, at first I cried, like I was like smelling their clothes. Like I was like, So like the next day I like put on 50 Cent and like was like jamming to In the Club, right? And I was like, I don't have any responsibility for another human except for myself. Like and it was mind blowing to actually like not have like to just be like, I could do. And of course, what did I do? I spent my summer working. But the point is, I love my work. So like, I just poured everything into me, and it was so different being a mom. Like, just that was such a different change. So for you, like, what was it like to just, how much time did you have there?
I was there from September 3rd. That's when I landed. And I came back on the 12th.
So you had a while. Okay. So you'd almost, so like, were you just like, you know what, I'm just going to sort of or like, did the control take over? Like, when did you get to the point where you were just like, I'm just going to, and did the control keep creeping in? Like, how did it work?
You know what? Like, the control actually left right after I had that cigar. After I realized, I'm here, I'm in this, like, obviously there was this anxiety of not being able to navigate my way and find out where I was actually going from the airport to the hotel. But when I just got to that destination of the hotel, started going on that walk and really embracing the environment and taking in the architecture, the people, the way they move, it's different from what what I experienced at home. And then I'm writing down things. I told you about the spiritual download, and then I'm also not just about the spiritual download, but I'm taking in and I'm doing inventory count of the environment, period. I'm looking at people that are surrounded by their friends, their family, and they are connecting.
Yes.
They're sitting down at a patio, no phone in sight, but they're just enjoying each other. They're enjoying and sharing stories. They're sharing food.
You're describing presence. Like you had this incredible just experience of presence in everything that you did, it seems.
Annie, you know, we talked about the A word last night, allow, but there was another A word that came into play during that trip, and it was alignment. When you are in alignment with just the universe and, you know, your state of being, and my state of being was just on a euphoric high where I'm just gonna enjoy this. I remember even like I didn't book because I was gonna at one point I was going to then, you know, leave Paris to go to Amsterdam. I didn't book a hotel for the first night because I was like I want to like figure this out. I was contemplating on, should I have another experience where I, you know, rent an Airbnb, but it's got to be an extravagant Airbnb, right? And I decided to spoil myself because I love being by the water, and they have these houseboats out there. And I found this like gigantic houseboat, and I'm like, I'm going to get this for one night.
Amazing.
And I did. And
is that what you did?
I did. I listen,
Look what she said. Reggie, you're helping me decide my next trip. Life is for once, life is short. Oh my God. You're changing lives right now, Reggie, with your experience. That's amazing. How was the houseboat?
Oh, fantastic.
Ridiculous.
Fantastic.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. David says, love how you were in perfect flow, Reggie. He was in flow.
In flow. David,
imagine there's actual people that live in flow all the time. That is not I. I am not in flow. I have moments, and I appreciate them, and I'm grateful, and I find myself in alignment and in flow for sure. But this is not my natural state of being. It's just not. I've accepted that about myself.
But there's something called ebbs and flow, right?
Yes, true. Very true.
So there's times where, you know, we're not going to be in that, I want to say floetic mood where we're just like on that high. We're going to obviously come down a little bit and be like, okay, well, I need to kind of control the situation, my emotions and everything around me. I'm just not in a good place right now. But then you have to, trigger something within you and get into that state where you're on a high vibrational frequency. And that's what I try to do for myself. And just being on that trip just made me realize, I could have been with somebody on that trip, but it may not have been the same experience, right?
That was not how it was supposed to be this time.
No, that's not how it was supposed to be.
That strongly.
Yeah.
And it formed parts of you that make the you that's going to meet that person. Or that's what I think.
Because of the alignment.
Yes, the flow.
Yes.
Flow. So, all right. So it's interesting that you said that, and I want to further talk about through, but I had on my Instagram Live with Felicia. We do an Instagram Live Mondays and Thursdays at 2. Mm-hmm. And Cordelia came on, and she's like just this essence of wisdom to me. Like I just bow when she talks. So she said, time, she in her way, she's so calm. Like she's so the total opposite of me. She's like, time expands for you. Just know that. And
time extends for you?
Expands. Like time will expand for you. And I'm like, because I was trying to get Evie to soccer. I had an appointment, a client at 6. I had to get Sammy to this person back. It was like, how could I possibly do it all? And she was like, everybody's going to get where they need to go. Time expands for you. And I was like,
I like that.
Right? Like it just, and I kept having her in my head saying that, and everything went okay. I got everything done. Everybody got where they needed to go on time. It's my anxiety of it happening or not happening, it has nothing to do with actually doing it. I always get it done.
it's it's human nature to always get fixated on the outcome. When you detach yourself from that outcome, things just fall into place. So you being able to orchestrate and manage, the drop-offs, the pickups, and all the other items that you have to, close off on your agenda, you'll get it done. So
It'll just get done.
Yeah. So it's like when, Cordelia mentioned about time expansion. Yeah, it expands for you. And the thing is, all these things that you had to go through in terms of facilitating those drop-offs, those pickups, getting this done, getting that done. People need to realize that when you are on your purpose and you're doing these things, these are precursor activities it's a training ground so that as you grow, as you scale, you can manage all the other things that are going to be coming into your surface. So
absolutely,
you need to realize that.
I always say being a mom is definitely great training for being a CEO. Like there's nothing I can't do. That's how I truly feel. We have a couple comments. Ashim said, Reggie, whatever goes down comes back up, keep flowing. Hillel says, yes, if we know what we have to do, the entire universe will let you do it. So true. So true. I just, I'm very good at giving that advice, but I try to be as vulnerable and as open as I can on my own show because it's like, why not tell people, like that's not how I'm wired. And that's why I live my truth, right? Like I live my truth because I know who I am. I know how I'm wired. I can try to adjust and try to flow with it. But, I'm a little bit high anxiety, little bit. I hear pitter patter. Hold on a minute. Hold on, Reg. Somebody might want to say hi.
I want to say hi
too. Remember Reggie from last night?
Is it the soccer star?
Yeah. Are you the soccer star? We're live right now in front of the world.
We're live in front of the world. You're going to say, no, you're not a soccer star, but you're wearing a soccer jersey yesterday?
Yes, exactly. Oh, now she's all shy. All right, goodbye. Go have fun. I love you. Bye.
She's so cute.
Thank you.
I gotta pee.
Oh.
Thank you for that. Sorry, everyone.
The audience needed to know this. Yes.
This is 9 years old. Lots of good information. Okay, so tell me let's just get to this place where tell me the last time you really experienced this word through. What happened and how you went through and how you got to the other side.
Yeah. So it's funny because my book that's coming out is based on that. It's obviously based on the show that I host, but also it talks about how 2019 was my own personal COVID-19. And that's when I personally hit rock bottom. We all have different points in our lives where we, kind of fall on our face. People have it harder than others, so not everyone's story is the same. But this story was for me where 2019, I was on a high. I went into the year looking forward to new opportunities. I was working at an organization that I really wasn't happy about. And I kind of reached my ceiling and I took on a new opportunity, and it was to go work for a competitor. When I went to the new job, based on how I left, and I didn't do it in the best way, and I have to admit that. But the previous employer actually went to the competition and pretty much interrupted my employment with them, and I was left unemployed for the first time.
Wow, I did not know that story. Okay.
Yeah, so it hit me like a ton of bricks. I've never been unemployed in my career. I was always fixated on being in this one industry because I thought that was all I had to do. So I just had the blinders on. I was fixated on, climbing that corporate ladder. Now, what I didn't realize that setback was a setup, but during that moment, I was just torn. My life felt like it was over.
Totally.
I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I don't have a job.
Life is over. Life is over.
I got 2 kids that I gotta, pay child support for, and till this day, Annie, they don't even know that I was unemployed. Because I didn't want them to worry about adult issues. I was like, that's my issue. That's my cross to carry. So, but during that period, there's times where I kind of felt depressed. I was like, what am I going to do? I My reputation is like ruined. I'm out of an industry. I've been legit like kicked out of an industry. You know, at one point in my career within that industry, you know, I had a good rep. People would talk, you know, talk to me left, right, and center, to a point where I was like kind of shunned.
Wow.
So I'm all alone now. So when I say that was like my COVID-19, when, you know, you're on lockdown and I live by myself, it's just all alone.
It's so violating too. It was traumatic what happened. It wasn't just like one little thing happened, and this was like a big deal. This was a very traumatic experience.
Huge. And I'm like, am I going to get
very
back
personal
to that level that I'm at? You know, I work so hard.
I understand.
But the through was discovering who I am, discovering talents that I never realized, because the programming of being in corporate culture, where you have to, like I said, you have to climb that corporate ladder, and, you know, you have to appease the people at the top, right?
Yep.
Meanwhile, I'm like sitting on all these ideas and all these passions that I didn't realize that I had until I was flat on my face, had the time to be by myself. And obviously you're seeing a theme. It's like when you are being still with yourself, you could think about the possibilities, but it was about doing the self-development work. And we talked about that last night with Brad. You have to do the work. And the work consisted of, you know, daily prayer, meditation. And I was doing cold showers at the time because I was a big fan of the Wim Hof method. You know, I would start writing gratitude notes for things that started to like happen in my life. I started even being thankful for the hardships, because without those hardships, I didn't realize that I was on the path of my breakthrough, because I was able to develop, I remember, 2 MVPs in terms of technical requirements for like a mobile app. This is where I developed the program for the universities and colleges. All these things in terms of ideas started flowing.
It all started happening and flowing.
Right. So my breakthrough was due to being broken.
Yes. Your setup was from your setback, as you said, which was what said. Wow.
Exactly.
I love that through story. I have a totally similar story. I mean, I fully feel you on every level. Like, and while you're going through it, oftentimes you're not like, well, now I'm going through and just can't wait to get to the other side. Like, it is painful to go through.
Oh, is it ever?
To sit in it. It's the hardest of the letters, I think. I do that about every letter. Allowing is really hard for me too. But through is pretty hard.
Through is very hard because, like I said, you're in a dark place. And I always remember T.D. Bishop Jake said this. It's like, you know, people don't realize that, you know, God does his best work in the dark place or in the dark room. And he always made the analogy in comparison to a photographer. And the photographer's in a dark room and they're developing their picture. But once that picture is fully developed, it becomes a beautiful picture. But you have to go through that process.
You go through that. Wow, that's so beautiful. That really is. That makes so much sense. And while you were talking, my gratitude alarm went off, which goes off every day at 8 o'clock. So I'm very grateful to learn about you and your through story, because I find that to be, I mean, you truly are a picture. You came out the other side as a beautiful picture. And
well, I'll tell you this, Annie. You and I would not be having this conversation right now if that situation back in 2019 didn't happen. And why do I say this? Because I was just, again, I had tunnel vision, and that tunnel vision didn't allow me to seek out opportunities. It didn't allow me to really recognize what my gifts and talents were. So I was always nervous or to be in front of a camera, to a point where, you know, I'm auditioning for roles, for TV commercials, and putting myself out there, and being on your live, hosting a show would not have done it if it wasn't for those moments.
It's amazing what, you know, I would love to hear if people make comments or if people have stuff to say about kind of the trials and tribulations of life and how you ended up. I mean, I believe me when I tell you I'm not dismissing anything about the pandemic as the horrific display that it has caused in every way. But I will tell you that there are some silver linings. There are some positives that have come of it as far as this introspection for me goes, like kind of stopping, taking a look at myself, taking an inventory and saying, this is not the right path. Like, yeah, I just put myself through an MBA, but I don't want this big corporate job. The interviews are not working. It's not aligning. It's not what I want. It's not who I am. Mike, hi, nice to meet you in 2020. Let's create this entire lifestyle, this way of life because of the trials and tribulations we've been through. Let's make Breath Framework and then let's make the company and let's build this team. And it's like none of that would happen. And I know for a fact this is my life's purpose. I'm here for a reason to do this. And I'm not defined as anything else. Like, I don't know if I said it to you. The day I gave a presentation today on a mental health and positivity awareness campaign. And I don't think I said it to you. I think I said it live with them. But I said, yeah, I'm a CEO. Yeah, I'm a mom. Yeah, I'm this, I'm that. But I'm not defined by any of those. I define myself. Like I am me. And I'm all these things together, and none of me right here or you would be here the way we are talking like this about what we're talking about without any of these trials and tribulations and things we've been through. It's kind of amazing if you think about it, that you go through and then you come out, like you said, as this beautiful picture. And it's not always beautiful when you come out, but like the way you look at it is beautiful. That's how I see it.
And I like what you said there. It's like, you're not defined by your titles because like you said, you're many things, right?
Yeah. And
we all, a lot of us, especially on LinkedIn, what's the first thing that we see? We see the title.
The headline. Yeah.
Right. Or the headline. But do we ever get a chance to really take the time to really get to know the individual? Because that individual, like you said, is more than just the title. They are a lot of things. And it's about peeling back those layers and building that connection, which I find a lot of people kind of keep things at the surface. But when you go deep, you really uncover what that person is, and it leads to deeper connections that lead to long-lasting relationships.
I will tell you that agreed, 100%. And if you are watching this or watching the replay and you're wondering, like, what do they mean about getting deeper? I will tell you that exposing, I don't like to use that word, it has a negative connotation, but Felicia said a word that we were talking about, words that remind us of each other, right? And I told her how reliable she is. She just always shows up. She's like, always, when she says she's going to be there, she's there. She said I was very revealing. And I was like, what do you mean? like
you can take that a different way.
Like revealing, And I was like, and she goes, no, like you reveal, you're vulnerable, like you'll share. And I think that there is nothing in this life, well, love, but nothing in this life quite as good or as rewarding as showing yourself, bearing your soul, and having people connect with you around you're both bearing your souls and you're connecting in that way. There's nothing to me that's like connection. I mean, it's everything. Love also, that I always, preach that love is everything. But as far as like showing yourself, if you're watching this and you're wondering how to go below that surface, like make a video. Show who you are. Like watch some of my stuff and see what people say back. Reggie, I posted at 3 a.m. this morning because I was like, I had this thing that was weighing on me. It was really weighing on me. And it was important that I say it. I needed to share it for even that one person that needed to hear it. Mm-hmm. And I got probably 100 DMs asking me if I was okay and understand you and your, it was about somebody crossing boundaries and, warm, loving understanding and of my vulnerability, not, people bashing me for being on the bathroom floor, making a video at 3 a.m., which by the way, I admitted it. And I'm like, look, I'm sitting here and you're might think I'm crazy, but like, I don't care. I'm still making the video at 3 a.m. This message needs to be heard. And the message was about setting boundaries and people crossing them, and that we make boundaries to be safe. But the point of the matter is, like, I got such love back from opening myself up. And I always do on this on the LinkedIn platform. It's just such a great place to show yourself. And I love the engagement and the connections with this community. When I say this, I mean LinkedIn, because that's where my heart is. Even though we're going out to a bunch of different channels, but the LinkedIn community is just something that has changed my life. It has changed my life. And the connections that I made, the team that we built together, the team that we have and people surrounding me and supporting this initiative of healing others and getting them to their soul center is just, I'm babbling, but the point is, like, I just love connection. I think it's such a beautiful thing. So if you're scared of that, if you're worried about that, if you're like, oh, I can't, I'm not good in front of the camera, like, just like pop your cell phone on and just share how you're worried about it. Share what your biggest worry is. Share what your biggest struggle is. I bet you will get back an incredible amount of connection and love that you never even expected.
It's true. And
Isn't
that
it?
leads to exactly what we've been talking about, the through, right?
Yep.
And you break through all the fears that you have, or the anxiety of putting forth that video. And I love what you said. You're able to, Felicia said that you are revealing, but like she also said, is that you are being vulnerable. You are putting yourself out there for the world to see who you are. One word that I do hate the most, it's another A word. Shoot, we can talk about A's all day. Authentic. And
I knew you were going to say that.
Right. You knew it, right?
Notice I haven't dropped that word once in this conversation.
I know. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Because it's like authentic. When they say being authentic, it's like the only way to be authentic is to be authentic.
Just right. Like real. Why do we need to really talk about it? Just be it.
Yeah,
right?
Be it. So if you could be on the bathroom floor at like 3 a.m. and just sharing your stories, sharing your thoughts and feelings, it's liberating.
It is. I mean, I could have woken up to like madness, but I woke up to people asking me if I was okay and like genuine care and concern, and just the support on the platform is just amazing. But yes, I feel like you and I are a little bit, we shouldn't say that about authenticity, because not everybody it's not as easy for everyone to stand in their truth and be as authentic as we are being. So I will say that it can be a struggle for some people, but I'll say this: when you get there, when you reach that real place of aligning with your core values and you're standing in your truth and your authenticity, it's a whole other world. It's a whole other kind of living.
Oh, it is. And again, I'm going to use that word again, because I remember being on that trip, and I said something to a friend of mine, and that word again is liberating. And I said, and I'll quote myself on this. I said, man, shit is only liberating when you're willing to do liberating shit.
That is a Reggie Waterman quote right there.
Like,
it is only liberating when you're willing to do liberating shit.
Right? Because we all talk about it. We're like, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. But then when it comes time to it, no, we don't want to do it. Right.
Well, to your point, shit is only authentic when you're willing to be authentic, right? Like it's not what it's not. So people can talk all day long about being real and showing up and being vulnerable and authentic, but you don't get to, feel what that feels like in that level of fulfillment and wholeness until you actually bring your authenticity. And you're right, the word has been overused. It has been overused. Hillel says, pandemic gave me time with my family and understanding more about each individual at home. It was very important. Pre-pandemic, I was running to catch trains. Now it's fun when I'm connected, so much better. I'm right there with you. Just talk about a wake-up call to what's important, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this life. So what else do you want to bring to the audience tonight, Reggie? I am good to go. I think we had an amazing conversation about allow, a little bit of everything. I loved learning about you. I know other people did. Anything you have to add?
Yeah, I truly enjoyed this conversation because we covered a lot and went down a lot of paths. But I think if I could kind of just wrap this in a nice bow, I would say just be yourself. Whatever that version of yourself is, just be it and relish in that energy. You know, they always say when you try to be somebody else, you know, everybody else is taken. So be able to just showcase and demonstrate your true, I was going to say authentic self, but just be
your true
yourself,
self.
your true self. That's
be
it.
yourself. Reggie, how can people find you if they want to get in touch with you?
Yes. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram at Reggie.Waterman.
Nice. So we will do the intro again as I use it as my outro. So everybody, peace. It's been real as always. Love you. Thank you for the support. Reggie does too. And we will see you soon. Peace. I just hit myself in the face. Did you see that?
Opposite of self-love. Opposite of self-love.
Right.
Breath framework. B, begin where you are. R, reclaim your power. E, excavate your core values. A, allow, not control. T, through, not around. And H, healing. The breath framework, a way of life.